But I want to give you some more people. Dan Awalabi. Oh my gosh, he was amazing. He has a new book called Authentic Leadership. And he talked about the beauty of like, do you see an acorn when it falls from a tree? Or do you see an oak tree? Do you see millions of oak trees? And when you see an acorn, do you see millions of oak trees? I mean, just the vision of that, right? That's a super simplistic version of his beautiful storytelling features in doing this. But I want to see oak trees in people. I want to see, like, when I am telling a story, that I am giving you a little acorn so that you can have oak trees upon oak trees upon oak trees that will be built out of the foundation of the story. And so our stories shouldn't be frivolous. Our stories should be intentional. He told a story about essentially like an incognito story about this woman, this elusive woman, and this conversation that he had, and her story and testimony. And later on, he ends up telling a story about himself, and he's talking about his childhood and all of these emotions that he had in his own experience. And then he's sandwiched back to the other story, and come to find out, said woman was his mom. And it was such a profound moment. Like, I think it just made everyone in the audience breathless, based on the evolution of the story through a secondary story, right? This is a generational story, and it will continue to be, because he's got a daughter who is also already, he's implanting these oak tree style experiences. And gosh, I want to create oak trees. I don't know about you. I want to create entire areas simply by seeing an acorn. And so you, the listener today, are an acorn to me, but I see you as an oak tree. And so I loved that analogy, right? So analogies in storytelling. So you pick out the story. He had multiple stories within the story, and then he created analogy to it, which was brilliant. Then we had a songwriter, right? So songwriters are always storytellers, which is phenomenal. Her name was Mariah. She actually was an actress inside of The Journey to Bethlehem, which I love that movie, musical. She also was a co-producer of The Unsung Hero about the King and Country band, and I loved that one, the Small Bones, if you will, as that's their last name. And I'm going to give you, oh my gosh, y'all, I think I'm going to have to do 2 episodes. I have so many more tabs in this book. So she said to create a structured life. So she was talking about, let me give you some more context, a little bit more story. She just done this amazing song about being a superwoman. It's a song about don't think it's time to hang up your cape. You're a superwoman. It's coming out soon. So we got to be kind of in that that precursor experience of her story that's unfolding with this song. And she was talking about being an artist inside of, the Christian music industry at large, obviously, and that she chooses to look different, to be set apart, to not go out and party, to not be with all of the people, and to really create a structured life. And so she said, I create a structured life so that my inner artist child can run free and wild inside. Oh, so poetic. So poetic. So we're not the type of people that, like, we're prude. I think I hear that a lot on like legalistic religious Christians, right? Like, I don't not drink because I'm a prude. I drink because I want to have freedom in my mouth. When I speak, I want there to be freedom rather than filter, right? Because I want you to be safe, and I want to be safe. And I know that if I am not coherent in my mind, that's not going to be the same. We're not going to make correct actions, right? We're not going to create the best words. We're not going to tell stories we're going to tell stories, but it's going to be that one night win, right? I don't want those kind of stories in my life anymore. I've had them. I've had enough of them. I'm good. So the structure in my life allows me to run free and wild inside. And I just love that. Also, she said, the most sustainable thing to do for leadership is to get to know yourself. And I think that's a storytelling tactic as well. You need to dissect your stories. You need to be able to come to them and create that parable-like analogy. You need to create metaphors that connect to other people, because your story is one side of the bridge. The bridge is the metaphor and the analogy. And then that's how you're meeting the other person on the other side. You're creating some connection point that they can get in, because they're not in your story. So as you're telling the story, you're connecting with similar like emotions. You're connecting with the experiences that they've walked through, right? When everybody it mentions COVID, several people did on the stage, like, everyone can kind of sit in that pocket of emotion that all of us as a greater America and world really we're feeling in that time. And so you want to create those pieces that people can use as a lock and key, a stronghold inside, in a good way, not the negative strongholds, but as a cementing point, as I said with the standing up before. They were cementing their body, but what about cementing their emotions?